Hello and welcome to Fifth Gear.
Today, we're in hot hatch heaven.
This trio of brand new models from Ford, Renault and Peugeot are fighting for supremacy.
And today, we're going to thrash, squeal and slide our way to revealing which one deserves a place on your driveway.
Where are you going there?
Vic is in Holland at the Zandvoort racetrack, grappling with the country's latest homegrown supercar, the Donkervoort D8 GTO.
Woohoo! In our team test, Tiff goes hell for leather in the brand new Jaguar XF Sport Brake.
Fighter.
And Johnny's at Bentley's HQ, building an iconic V8 engine and driving their latest top-of-the-range luxury limo.
If you're going to have your name on an engine, it might as well be a fully hand-built V8, right?
But let's kick things off with these tiny little fighters. Rejoice, fellow petrol heads. We've got some brilliant news. No less than 3 brand new hot hatches have just been released, each costing less than 20 grand.
And these aren't from the bargain bin. They're made by some of the biggest names in the hot hatch arena. All have turbocharged 1.6-litre engines. Hit 62 in less than 7 seconds and claim to do over 40 miles to the gallon.
We're going to find out which is best with 3 different challenges. Let battle commence.
Test number 1 is all about straight line speed. With just a fifth of a second covering all 3 of these little pups in the 0 to 62 dash, we thought we'd find out what happens over a quarter of a mile.
Now, from a standing start, I'm going to nail it towards Tiff, who's borrowed a speed camera from the local coppers. Now, the car that records the highest speed when I get to my old mate is the winner. First up is the Ford Fiesta ST.
In your own time, go, go, go.
Right, so this is a sniff under 17 grand. Traction control's off, and hold on the handbrake, and go. Little bit of wheel spin, pretty good.
And he's away.
Feels reasonably torquey.
63, 73,
Clean all the way through the rev range, 4th gear.
81, 84,
Just need the rev limiter there, a sniff.
87, 89. 92 miles an hour for the little Fiesta.
I'll tell you what, it's quite nippy for a 1600. Well.
92 miles an hour.
Okay.
What gear was it up to then?
4th. Just got into 4th, but I just nipped the rev limiter.
Did it feel torquey
Just nipped it.
mid-range?
I wouldn't say torquey. One thing it does feel is the flywheel's too big, because the revs take a long time to decay between each gear. Next, the Peugeot 208 GTI. This is £18,900, the best part of £2,000 dearer than the Ford Fiesta ST. So, traction control off, holding on the handbrake. Seating position's a bit weird, actually.
In your own time, Mr. Plato.
Roger.
Don't know what he said, he just shouts into radios.
Oh, here we go, and go. Ooh, easy to brake traction.
Waiting for the gun to pick up the early figures.
Engine feels a bit friskier.
74,
Past 80 mile an hour. It feels a bit quicker, actually.
88, we were 90.
So let's have a look. What have we got? We're definitely in the 90s.
Only just 93 miles an hour. I think the headwinds picked up a little bit, but only 1 mile an hour faster, despite 20 more horsepower and feeling quicker.
It feels quicker, yeah. It feels much friskier. The engine feels like it's a bit racier. Didn't hit the rev limiter. I'm amazed. I would have thought more.
93. Can Ono do any better?
Wait. Finally, the Renault Sport Clio, the only car with a double-clutch automatic gearbox. Right, so this is a whisker under 19 grand, £5 under, so it's the most expensive of the 3.
For the third and final time, Jason Plato, do your best.
Now, this has got launch control, so press the button down there, that's on, Renault Sport's on, pull both levers, launch control's on, hit the throttle, and we're off. pretty quick gear change. I mean, I want to be involved, I want to be changing the gear, but it feels quick.
83, 84.
Feels smooth. Funny sort of engine note, though.
90. Only 92.
Oh, you fighter.
Ooh.
She moves about on the brakes, it has to be said.
What are you doing sitting on the wrong side of the car?
It's one of those French things, isn't it? Don't feel like I'm doing anything. I feel removed from the car.
The mid-range power delivery.
Oh, yeah, but
Was it quicker, do you think?
I think it probably is quicker, but it doesn't feel as quick because I'm a bit detached.
Well, it wasn't.
Was it not?
No, 92, the same as the Fiesta. So 2 92s and a 93.
So?
The winner is the Peugeot.
The tiny 1 mile-an-hour difference reveals how all three have very similar power delivery.
Later, we'll put our ultra-competitive triplets through an even tougher challenge.
It's a tyre-smoking, J-turning assault course.
Gear! Gear! Give me a gear!
Still to come, Vicky's in Holland thrashing the bonkers Donkervoort D8 GTO. And in our team test, Tiff subjects us to some gut-wrenching driving in Jaguar's brand new XF Sport Brake.
Whoa! Fighter! Fighter!
Welcome back to Fifth Gear. Now to our high-tech test tracks for the Fifth Gear team test.
This week, the team are testing the Jaguar XF Sport Brake.
It's the brand new estate version of Jaguar's XF Executive Saloon. It costs from £32,000 to £52,000 and is a rival to the Mercedes E-Class and BMW 5 Series estates. It's fitted with either a 2.2-litre turbo diesel or the 3-litre V6 turbo diesel we're testing today.
So, the XF Sport Brake, gentlemen.
Handsome-looking beast.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's sleek, stylish, nice.
It's got this lovely little Ming the Merciless style
Oh, yeah, it does.
goatee.
I don't think it's lost anything by having the rear end put on it. It's strong, it's solid, and it's just no nonsense.
I think it looks better than the Saloon.
Of course, the best bit about estate cars is the boot space. Da-da-da.
Behold, behold.
Huge tailgate rises majestically on little electric buttons.
Now, I'm not a massive fan of electric tailgates. That
Yeah.
takes a really long
I
time.
agree
No,
with
it
you.
doesn't.
It does.
ridiculous.
What do you mean it takes a really long time?
You're there in the rain and
I just want to go,
yeah.
It's very pretty. Jag have made a point of making the back end not just practical, but they've put really trick little lights in there.
What have you found?
What do you like?
Pull that little lever and the seats just fly back.
Oh, you haven't got to go in through
No,
the
look.
doors. Oh!
How nice is
Oh,
that?
nice.
So Tiff wanted to test out the boot space on the Jag.
Where's your booze?
Oh, my head. Not the biggest of inches, I found out. That's a bit low.
Tiff laid down in the back, as you know, as normal people do in a car.
Look, room.
Let's have a look.
There was room for me to sleep for the whole weekend. Well, there would have been if Jason hadn't got in.
I just wanted to keep warm.
Come on, let's spoon.
It was quite comfy. And then that lunatic Johnny came and got in the middle of us.
Come on, get on top.
No, thank you.
Come on.
No.
And then Vicky shut us all in.
This does feel awkward.
But we did learn from that it's a big old boot. Perfect. Time for a cup of tea, and move on to a long lunch.
Now, of course, the only problem with building a sports brake is that it adds weight. In fact, with the Jaguar, added 110 kilograms.
Jaguar says that the Sport Brake has identical handling to the Saloon.
They recalibrated the back end, so it's got air suspension instead of coils, and it's got stiffer anti-roll bars.
So to test that out, we put Tiff behind the wheel and asked him to drive them back to back around a circuit.
We had a saloon, we did a lap time with it. So this is the standard saloon. Oh,
I can't hold myself in the seat.
it's a bit loose at the rear end. Actually, it's quite neutral. It's a bit of understeer in and then, ooh, a bit of oversteer on the way out. Once you get used to it, it's rather fun, actually.
And the ride's good in the back.
Yeah, it is. It is, yeah.
It's very quiet and refined, I have to say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Whoa!
Fighter! Fighter!
Have you got a lab
Tiff looked more in control of the estate car version. What are you doing?
How
Jesus,
can
he's
this be quicker,
unhinged.
though?
I've told you this
It's
before.
110 kilograms heavier. It can never be quicker.
It feels a lot stiffer though than the saloon.
It feels a bit stiffer, but it's twitchier in a way. It doesn't plough into a big understeer like the saloon did.
On paper, it's 0.2 of a second slower to 60 than its saloon cousin. You'd never know that it weighs 1.9 tonnes, would you? Not the way it goes around that track.
Oh, the edge of the road!
Tiff, come on.
Look, I've got to do the time, I've got to do the time! I didn't feel as fast.
52.2 we have to beat.
It was quicker on the stopwatch.
And?
Stop the clock, now!
51.2, a second quicker.
Second. Bit surprised by that. Well done, Jaguar.
The XF Sport Brake is easily worth the extra £2,000 over the XF Saloon. It looks better, has sharper handling and a bigger boot.
This does feel awkward.
So if you want a Jag, why not go for the Sport Brake? You get lots of space and you get a faster car than the saloon. I'm going to give the Jag an 8 out of 10.
It's my kind of car, this Jag, because it does a lot of things wrapped into one package. And on that basis, I'm going to give it a very bold and admirable 9.
Well done, Jaguar. A great estate car. An 8.
For me, the Jaguar XF Sport Brake gets a splendid 8.
Which gives the Jaguar XF Sport Brake a team test score of 33 out of 40.
Welcome to the Netherlands. I'm at the headquarters of a company that might just be about to put this country on the supercar map. Donkervoort was founded in 1978 when Joep Donkervoort built his own version of the iconic Lotus 7. Since then, the Donkervoort car has evolved so far that in 2011 it produced a racing version that won the grueling Dubai 24-hour endurance race. It put the lessons learned from racing into a brand new version of the road car, the D8 GTO, which I'll be testing at Zandvoort, Holland's former Grand Prix track. But first, some introductions. At first glance, it appears out of this world, but take a closer look and you can see traces of the Lotus 7. It's got a long bonnet with headlights either side, outboard mounted wheels and 2 seats in the cabin which are set all the way back. Basically, it's a recipe for a big dose of fun. Like the Lotus 7, the D8 GTO has been designed to weigh as little as possible, being made almost entirely out of carbon fibre. The only thing that isn't lightweight is the price, £98,000. It's more than seriously hardcore rivals like the KTM Crossbow R and Ariel Atom. On paper, the stats are even more impressive than its ridiculously quick competitors. It's got a 2.5-litre engine, borrowed from Audi, that's got 380 brake horsepower. This car takes 2.8 seconds to get from a standstill to 62. That is quick. I've arrived at Zandvoort. This fantastic track is the epicentre of motorsport in Holland. It opened in 1948 and was the home to the Dutch Grand Prix from 1950 through to 1985, when Niki Lauda in a McLaren beat his teammate Alain Prost by just 0.2 of a second after a 70-lap race. Today, it's used for the likes of sports car racing, the German Touring Car Championship, and for me to test Dutch supercars. Donkervoort's motto is no compromise, so there's no ABS, power steering or servo-assisted brakes, as the extra weight would have compromised the car's speed. I'm driving this car pretty much with all my upper body strength, turning the wheel is coming right from my shoulders all the way down my arms. into the chicane. Bit too keen on the throttle, the back end steps out. So it's very difficult to sort of give it lovely, great, big, fat power slides.
The D8 has more power per tonne than a Ferrari F12, so it's no surprise that driving it is such a physical onslaught. And it's not just the edgy handling that demands concentration. The Audi engine has been tuned to be an absolute animal too.
There's a massive turbo whine, but there's not a massive amount of turbo lag. Hit the throttle, the boost bar goes crazy, and I go forwards very quickly. They've done a nice job of it. It's a progressive amount of power that's coming, quickly, but progressively.
That continuous power delivery is difficult to achieve in highly tuned turbocharged engines. All too often, the power comes through in one big lump, making the car hard to control. The Donkervoort is a massive dose of rear-wheel drive adrenaline, with handling and power delivery that show some impressive engineering skills, but there's no getting away from its eye-watering price tag.
So, is it worth nearly £100,000? Well, there are more refined and more luxurious machines on the market for sure. But if you value exclusivity, a carbon fibre body, and out-of-this-world performance, then yes, it's worth every penny.
Now it's time to look at some cheapskates, cut-price versions of another car we've driven in the show. Swoopy styling, a serious turn of speed, the prospect of some rear-wheel drive hooliganism. These are the best cheapskate alternatives to the bonkers Donkervoort that Vicky thrashed in Holland. But instead of £100,000, prices start at just £4,000. Our first budget buy is the Honda S2000. It's more high-tech than the Donkervoort, but offers the same back-to-basics excitement. Time for a test drive.
The S2000 was on sale from 1999 to as recently as 2009, and it came with one of the all-time great engines, a 2-litre 4-cylinder that revs to 9,000 RPM. It's actually a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde engine because below 6,000 revs before the variable valve timing kicks in, it's as docile as anything. But get to that magic mark and it takes off like nothing else.
So, what do you need to look out for? These engines are well known for their excellent reliability, but timing chain tensioners are a potential weak spot. A dodgy one makes a sound like a playing card being stuck into a bike's spokes. Replacing it can cost just over £200. And check for uneven tyre wear, a symptom of poorly aligned suspension. The geometry of these cars can be quite easily knocked out, and whilst it only costs about £100 to realign it, it could cost you over £500 to replace the tyres. The S2000 is a reliable future classic, but spend £3,500 more and you could have a TVR Chimera, complete with the same space-age styling as the Donkervoort.
Of course, TVRs aren't built anymore, so this is a bit of British motoring history. Built during TVR's heyday, the Chimeras were produced from 1992 till 2003. And under that long bonnet, there's a 4-litre V8 that pumps out 240 horsepower and will get the Chimera to 60 in just under 5 seconds. The power delivery is almost the opposite of the S2000 because there's so much torque low down, you don't need to rev anywhere near the 6,500 limit. And this TVR has got good old-fashioned grunts.
The TVR's body is made out of corrosion-proof glass fibre, but its chassis isn't. This can suffer from serious corrosion, so, with the owner's permission, get yourself a screwdriver and do a bit of prodding.
especially on these outriggers. Small repairs can be done for about £100, but if there's serious rust, a new chassis will set you back £6,000. Also, listen for an odd chuffing noise from the exhaust manifold, especially when the engine is cold. It's a sign of a failed manifold gasket, which will cost around £300 to replace. The TVR is fast, rare and exotic, but our top budget buy will get you even closer to the Donkervoort experience, the Caterham 7. Just like the D8, it's based on a Lotus 7 sports car from the 1950s. Second-hand models hold their value brilliantly. There's little or no depreciation. This is the weapon of choice for petrol heads who want the rawest of driving experiences. Nothing gets you more involved in the surface of the road than one of these. And the great thing about this is that everything's instant. As soon as you turn the steering wheel, it turns. As soon as you move the throttle a millimetre, it goes. It's frantic. And the trouble is, almost what works against the Caterham is it's almost too frantic. After about half an hour in one of these, I think I'll be exhausted.
The Caterham is as basic as cars get, but it still pays to buy carefully.
The Rover K-Series engine is prone to head gasket failure, which can cost you just over £500 to get fixed. So check for any low coolant level or froth in the oil cap. Both can indicate water's getting where the oil is. So either walk away or negotiate a lower price.
The Caterham's aluminium body is easily dented, so check the condition of the panels.
Finally, the 7 is of course available as a build-it-yourself kit, which means there are some less than perfect models out there. So find out if it's got a factory-built sheet or not.
So if you haven't got the £100,000 you need for a Donkervoort D8 GTO, fear not. These three very different beasts all offer similar driving thrills for a fraction of the price.
Still to come, round 2 of our hot hatch dogfight. A tyre-squealing assault course which ends with a shock result.
Plus, Johnny's mechanical skills are tested to the limit as he builds a V8 engine for Bentley's flagship limo.
This is the birth of the engine, isn't it?
This is where all
This
that
is
starts,
exciting.
yeah.
Welcome back to Fifth Gear.
Let's get back to finding out which one of these incredible value hot hatches is the best.
We're finding the best brand new hot hatch for less than £20,000 and have discovered that the Peugeot 208 GTI is quickest in a straight line.
Challenge 2 will see one of the cars eliminated before the final round, and it's a test of performance and practicality.
The whole point of a hot hatch is that it should combine sports car performance with shopping car convenience.
So we're going to find out which of our three cars, the Renault Clio, Peugeot 208 or Ford Fiesta, best combines these attributes.
We're going to do that with an auto test, but one with a difference. We're going to start outside the car, just like they do in Le Mans, run across, jump in and complete the auto test.
This will test for ease of access, good acceleration and nippy handling. The child will have to get in and strap himself in the back. I'll do the driving.
Child, did you say?
Before driving off, we'll completely disable each car's traction control because we reckon that's what most owners will do before a fun drive. It'll penalise cars with fiddly electronics.
First, the Fiesta ST.
7, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1, go.
Ah, missed it. Get it. Mind your legs, mind your legs. Seatbelt, seatbelt.
Come on. And
Silly key, no, keyless.
I'm in.
Throw the key.
I'm in.
Fire it up.
7, 18, 20
ESP off, ESP off. Come on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ESP off, first gear. Go.
25 seconds more. What's going on, Tiff? Where are we going?
It's a slalom, but it's a tight slalom. But then there's a bit of a swap.
Where are you going now?
Oh, a bit wide. Oh, into the garage. Are you comfy in the back?
No, I'm not. That's 44
Reverse,
seconds.
And then back through.
Top it.
Bit of understeer, bit of spinning. Yeah. Have you got a leg grip? How's your leg grip?
No, I'm all right for leg grip.
I need that comfort. And stop that. No. I've worn myself out doing all that.
1 minute and 6 seconds.
What, 0, 0? 1 minute 6.00.
1 minute, 6 seconds, .00. I don't know about you, I'm tired as well from hanging on.
How's your headroom? Good headroom, nice
Do you
space.
know, it's not bad. These headrests get in the way.
All right.
When you pull in G.
Felt quite good, quite nice light steering, manoeuvrable.
So the Fiesta is easy to get into, has an easy to deactivate traction control, is reasonably spacious and has excellent handling. The Peugeot 208 GTI has 1 minute 6 seconds to beat.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Wrong side! Get it. Oh, come on. Mind your legs. Hey, look, a proper key, look, flick, a key that goes in the ignition that starts an engine. Fantastic.
I'm in, click.
ESC off, first gear, go. Oh,
22 seconds, that's all practice.
I'll tell you what, it's not got as quite a good traction as the Fiesta. It spins up its front wheels pretty easily.
You've got nothing to grab onto. Where's that?
I don't like this octagonal steering wheel either. I want a round steering wheel. And we're in the go. Oh! Yeah, reverse, good.
Oh, that sounded like a drive shaft.
What's that noise? Whoa! We're nearly in the blues then. No, it's not. How's your headroom? Don't worry about me.
That's your headroom.
Well, that's the seat. Steering wheel. It's feeling good. Coming, not crashing. What? And stop. 1 minute 6.0 to beat the Fiesta.
1 minute 3.88. It's 1 minute 3.
Oh, it's looking strong.
The Peugeot's even simpler to get into and drive off, and leaves the blocks 3 seconds quicker than the Fiesta. It holds this advantage all the way round the course.
Ready?
Finally, the Renault.
Go!
As the only 5-door car here, it should have a massive advantage.
Well, this is the key to put the slot, and I like that.
But Renault have fitted unbelievably complicated onboard electronics.
Oh, but hold on, I've got to go sport mode.
18, 19 seconds.
I've got to hit
what's
sport
up with
mode, and then I've got to
Everest?
put it into manual, then press and hold the sport button again until the ESC
25
comes
seconds
up. Then
gone.
I've got to take the handbrake, then I've got to put it into launch mode by pulling these two up so it says launch mode.
It's not saying anything.
It says rear belt fast. No. We're in. We're out. And finally.
The Clio is in serious trouble. And now the double clutch gearbox isn't giving me the gear I need.
I've changed gear when I didn't mean to.
Oh, what's happening there?
It's
What's happening there? There's a lot. There's a lot.
It's not
popping and
happening.
farting.
I don't know what it's doing. Oh! Where's reverse? Oh, no, reverse. Yes. No, it jumped out of reverse. I had it in reverse. And then first.
Whoa, I tell you, it's got some grip there.
Come on, gear.
It's a bit hoppy, isn't
Give
it?
me that gear. No, it doesn't.
Have you
want
broken
to.
it?
Check ESC. Oh, we're going again. There we are. I did nothing and it suddenly started going again. It just has a... I think it's jumping
Has
out.
it gone
I think.
funny again?
It's not very happy. It's not happy. And I've got... Oh!
What's happened there?
Stop! It had no throttle and then it went full throttle because I had to pull...
Well,
the time
it's
to
not the
beat
best
was-
time I've seen.
What was it, 1 minute and 6 to beat?
And this is a 1 minute 35.
Oh, I've got a spanner on, I've got check ESCs come up. Oh dear, just give us a gear lever, please.
The Clio loses. The newfangled electronics that Renault have added get in the way of the back-to-basics driving thrills we reckon hot hatches should provide.
Give me that gear!
So the Renault was joint loser in Test 1, it's the slowest around our auto test, and is our least favourite to drive. The Clio gets the boot.
Later, we'll hit the track in our finalists to reveal which is the most fun to drive.
And which one is fastest over a lap?
I think that was a bit over the top.
The Mulsanne is Bentley's latest four-door flagship with an eye-watering price tag. Today I've arranged a test drive, but only after my mechanical skills have been tested on the engine production line. This is Bentley HQ, home to 4,000 employees who are responsible for building 8,500 cars in 2012. Today I'm joining the ranks of highly skilled engineers who hand-build the iconic 6 3/4 litre V8. It is one of the last handmade engines in production, with a heritage dating back to 1959. Each motor takes 30 hours to build. Engineering supervisor John is going to teach me how to complete the key stages. First, we meet Andy, who fits the crankshaft to the bottom end of the engine. This is the birth of the engine, isn't it?
This is where it all starts.
Exciting. It's held in place by bearings mounted in casings that need to be hammered and then bolted into place.
You know how to use this? Of course you can. Just hold it there. Yeah. And then just press the trigger. Okay.
As the pistons go up and down, they turn the crankshaft, which is connected to the gearbox. Its rotation eventually turns the car's wheels. Well, this is the heart of the engine, isn't it? If this goes wrong, it's catastrophic, isn't it? Next, I'm shown how to make sure it runs perfectly smoothly. Each engine is put on a test rig, and then Tony listens for any discrepancies.
How does someone train you to do that?
When you get a bad one, which is not very often, you get to know the different noises. I mean, if we had a noisy oil pump, there'd be like a faint tapping or a scoring, or if we've got gears not meshing right, that makes a knocking sound.
With Tony's sign-off, the top of the engine can be completed, and then the car's cylinder deactivation system is installed. To help the car get better MPG and better emissions, the Mulsanne shuts down half of its V8 down to 4 cylinders when it's just being used around town on light throttle. But what's weird is the electronics live inside the oil, so when this inlet manifold is on and the heads are on, this all sits in oil. Then I'm taught how to fit the rocker shafts, which control the movement of the engine's valves. Each is screwed into place by a tool that links wirelessly to a computer, helpfully showing me which bolt to tighten and whether I've done it right, which doesn't happen every time. The screen's just gone red when I was doing this far left nut up, which represents a fault.
Just go on it again.
Just go for an extra tighten?
It'll correct itself.
That's okay. Oh, brilliant. It's not serious. Once ancillaries such as the starter motor and the exhaust manifolds have been fitted, the auxiliary belt is installed. Each Bentley engine is garnished with a plaque featuring the name of its creator. Wow, look at that.
That's all right.
Thank you very much.
Finish this engine off.
If you're going to have your name on an engine, it might as well be a fully hand-built V8, right? The engine is transported to the car assembly line. Heavily restricted to 4 miles an hour. It's the last time you're ever going to see a Bentley badge with restricted to 4 miles an hour on it. The process of installing the engine into the car is called the marriage. Doesn't the bride look lovely? With cellophane on her eyes. Lovely, lovely girl. Quite large.
This rig will lift up to the car.
Oh, OK, right,
yeah. And then the guys will get ready, get underneath and bolt. As you can see them now, they're all getting into their positions. They'll make sure there's nothing hanging down out the way.
Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today, etc. There's lots and lots of pads where any tool that could come into contact with the body is protected. From here, the car's interior is installed and then finishing touches completed. And here's the finished product. Now, this particular car with its options costs over 270 grand. I want to know if the Mulsanne's historic motor feels at home in the modern world. This has got 752 pounds-feet of torque, almost twice the torque of a Ferrari 458 Italia. Boy, does it pick up. It's a bit like being asleep I'm being slapped by Mike Tyson. It would take you by surprise, and you don't expect a car like this to have that kind of energy. And then we start going down some really curvy, meandering back roads like this, and you expect to arrive at a corner in a 2.6 tonne car and for it to be a bit of a problem. And what amazes me is the weighting of the steering and the body control is actually really good. There is one problem though. Whilst the old Mulsanne was handsome, this one just isn't. What have they done with the face of this car? I mean, seriously, it looks like some sort of 1980s Crime Watch identikit where they're trying to patch together what a murderer looked like by an old lady who was partially sighted, who didn't have her glasses on anyway, and it was night time. It's such an oddity. If I pulled up outside my own house, I would always park it nose facing the hedge. The Mulsanne combines hand-built tradition with modern speed. It's a luxury limo for people who want to get behind the wheel themselves. I think what Bentley have done with the engine is certainly not revolution, it's evolution. They've had that 6 3/4 for many, many years, and they've just added a little bit of refinement and technology and power as time's gone on. And I really hope that that carries on, because it's just a wonderful engine. It's everything that you'd want.
Still to come, our hot hatch finalists are let loose over a flying lap.
Will the winner be a Peugeot or a Ford? Oh, place your bets now.
We like it. Welcome back to Fifth Gear.
We're left with the two finest hot hatches you can buy for under £20,000. Now it's time to find out which one is best of all.
Our two finalists are the Ford Fiesta ST and the Peugeot 208 GTI.
In our grand finale, we're both going to drive each car with very different aims.
My job is to see which is the most fun when you drive it like a hooligan.
Whereas I'm adopting a neat and tidy approach to see which is the quickest against the clock.
We'll start in the Peugeot.
Will it be fun, fun, fun? Will it be? First attempt at the Scandinavian flick was decidedly useless, just understeered.
Right, and the first thing you notice with the Peugeot is there's a lot of understeer. It turns in, the initial point is okay, but then it just so easily goes into understeer. On the brakes, there's not a great deal of grip at the front.
I hate the ridiculous fact that I can't even see what revs or speed I'm doing. Who can sign off a car where the steering wheel completely blocks out the rev counter and the speedometer?
I know.
I can just about see the number 3 and 4 in the rev counter and the number 7 of 70, and that's it. But now we want the Scandi flick. Whoa! I had to work harder to make the Peugeot flick. I gave it that big. Go on, go on. No, refuses. But then, of course, when it bit, it spat.
Big spit. I was off for the grass, wasn't it?
Oh, were you?
Yo, there we go. Spits me off the road.
Nice work. Good skills, Dick. The engine's good.
We've got an extra 20 horsepower and we're 3 kilograms lighter.
It's got pretty good torque. It's got good ride, actually. It's very comfortable. It's very stable, but too stable. You know, it's not dynamic enough. Too much understeer, I'm afraid, Peugeot.
I'm sorry, it's not much fun. But is it fast?
During a neat and tidy lap, the Peugeot's lack of front-end grip is frustrating. It scores a time of 1 minute, 17.2 seconds.
For me, it's too nose heavy and can be snappy on the limit.
So, Jason, you set the pace with the Peugeot. What did you think of it, really?
In the round, I'm a bit disappointed because I want it to be much better.
and it just understeers too much.
But after the end of the straight sharp, there's a long curve.
Wow.
Peugeot, you could do that with a steering.
That's exactly what I was doing.
And do nothing. Wouldn't go any faster. Again, the Peugeot.
Or even on the brakes. Sometimes on the brakes.
Yeah, Peugeot dived under brakes, all the weight went on the front.
Yeah.
And
Shame, because I want it to be good.
Time to swap cars. I'll see if the Fiesta proves to be more fun.
While I'm going to find out if it can lap faster.
That is Fiesta. I really like it. It's got a great engine note.
the engine's got quite a nice urgent tone up above 5,000.
Let's see what the front grip's like. Oh, much more front grip. Much more kind of neutral chassis. A bit more dynamic, actually.
Straight away, just as the nose began to wash wider, lifted off the power, the nose tucked in. That's just what you want. Let's try a Scandinavian flick at the end of the straight. And that works. And the chassis comes straight back into line afterwards. It doesn't wallow around. It's nice and stiff. The ride comfort's good. You have this minimal body roll. When you jumped into the Fiesta, did you think it'd be quicker from the first corner onwards? Or?
Step change. You know, the car was neutral, understeer had gone. Okay, a little bit there, but you can make it do whatever you want. You can feel the car kind of rotating around, kind of just behind my bum, which is exactly what you want to feel. Great car, I loved it. Could have driven it all day around there. It's good fun. Really nice feel. Power steering loads up nicely. It's not really light like that Peugeot was. That's a good bit of kit.
It didn't feel as quick though, did it? Because that 20 horsepower is quite a difference.
Yeah, you're right, actually. In the straight line, it didn't feel as quick. But the power delivery was nicer, I thought, than that. It's a softer ramp up when the turbo comes in.
Ooh, nice brake pedal, good feel. I think that was a bit over the top.
We like it.
This is a beautiful little chassis, but is it faster?
The Peugeot's lap time was 1 minute 17.2. The Fiesta is 20 brake horsepower down, 3 kilograms heavier, slower in a straight line, but actually 2.5 seconds quicker.
It's a brilliant result that you would never have predicted. The cheapest, least powerful car is the best overall.
This is the car we would buy. A shining example of how a finely balanced chassis is worth much more than power or outright speed.